Hi, good morning my dear students. Myself Kulandaraj, accountancy lecturer, SDC College, Bangarpet. So, we are discussing the problems related on the double column cash book. Now, moving on to the 13th problem, that is under the page number 4.12. 13th problem, enter the following transactions in the double column cash book with the bank and cash columns and balance it. We know that double column cash book is a type of cash book we use to record two amount columns in the debit as well as in the credit side, that is the cash and bank column. It is also called as bank column book as well as double column cash book, two column cash book or cash book with bank and cash columns. So here the serial numbers has been given. Serial number 1, what is given? Cash at office rupees 18,500. This is the opening balance of the cash, and bank balance rupees 79,850. This is the opening bank balance. Serial number 2, Mohan settled his account of rupees 7,500 by giving the check of rupees 7,300. So we need to receive how much? 7,500, but we have received actual amount is how much? 7,300. That means 200 rupees is the difference amount, that is the discount amount. So we are by giving the check of rupees 7,300, we are receiving only here 7,300. Third point, Mohan's check deposited into bank. See here, we have received the check of rupees 7,300, but we have deposited on the same data. No, it has been deposited in the next day. So this check, whatever received in the second point is there. No, whatever the check has been received, 7,300, that should be treated as cash. Why it should be treated as cash means because it is not deposited on the same day. So on the next serial number, Mohan's check deposited into bank. So based and contra entry, what happens? The check will be treated as cash in the before transaction. So cash balance decreases, bank balance increases. Again, fourth point, Mohan's check returned dishonored. What is this dishonored means? So here dishonored means there is no sufficient balance in the Mohan's account. So our check has been dishonored. There is no balance means what happens? The bank balance reduces in our account. Whatever the check has been given by Mohan, how much he has given? 7,300 has been dishonored. So it should be taken under the credit side because it reduces. Again they are given paid for mobile bill rupees 1,500. When we are paid for mobile bill means what happens? Our cash balance reduces. So that should be taken under which side? Under the credit side. Again, sixth point, purchased furniture and paid by check rupees 12,500. When we are purchasing the furniture, what happens? Our bank balance reduces because we are purchasing through check here. How much is the balance? 12,500. Seventh point, bought goods and paid by check rupees 20,000. When we are purchasing goods and it has been paid by check means what happens? Our bank balance reduces through purchases. How much it reduces? 20,000. 8 point, paid salary rupees 6,000. When we are paying the salary, our cash balance reduces, so it should be taken under the credit side. 9th point, sold goods for cash rupees 16,000. When we sell the goods for cash, our cash balance increases, so that should be taken under the debit side. 10th point, insurance premium paid by check rupees 2,500. Insurance premium has been paid through what? Check. The bank balance reduces, so it should be taken under the credit side. 11th point, goods withdrawn for domestic use. So goods withdrawn for private use, domestic use, personal use, household expenses, own use, that will be treated as on drawings. Here see here what the point they are given. Goods withdrawn is given. Goods withdrawn for domestic use is given. So this point should be ignored. Why we are ignoring this goods withdrawn for domestic use? Only the cash transactions can be recorded in the book called as double column cash book. If he has withdrawn cash from bank or if he has withdrawn cash from the business itself, they can consider that transaction. But here what is withdrawn? Goods withdrawn for domestic use is given. So goods withdrawn cannot be considered. So ignore this point. Again, sold 12 point, sold goods to Sindhu on credit. Again they are given this transaction will be treated as a credit transaction. So we can't consider the credit transaction. We can consider only the cash transaction. So ignore this 12th point. 13th point, cash deposited into bank rupees 15,000. This is an contra entry which affects both the sides of the double column cash book. So what happens? When we are depositing to the cash into the bank means our cash balance reduces. Simultaneously what happens? Our bank balance increases. Now moving on to the solution. So solution, double column cash book under the debit as well as credit. So first point you can see from the question what they given. First thing what they given, cash at office rupees 18,500 and the bank balance rupees 79,850. This is the opening balance of cash and the bank balance that should be recorded under the debit side. So what happens, so the first transaction date 1, the date is not given, so you can maintain as it is 1, 2, 3 itself. 1, 2 balance brought down, 18,500 is the cash balance, bank balance 79,850. Again the second point we can see, Mohan settled his account of rupees 7,500 by giving the check of rupees 7,300. See here we are receiving the check, but whether it has been deposited on the same day, it is not deposited on the same day, so it should be treated as a cash. It is on receipt only, so it should be taken under which side? Debit side. So second point, second point to Mohan's account 7,300. Why 7,300 in the cash column instead of bank column? Means it is not deposited into the bank on the same date. Moving on to the next third transaction. See a third transaction, Mohan's check deposited into bank. Now already we have considered the check as cash. Now what happens? It has been deposited into the bank, so it is an contra entry which affects both the sides of the double column cash book. Now what the transaction happens? Third transaction, by bank account. See, that is contra entry 7,300. What happens? Cash balance decreases. At the same time what it increases? Bank balance increases. How much it increases? 7,300. Point number 3, to cash account, that is contra entry. See here, cash balance reduces. How much it reduces? 7,300. For what reason? For the bank account we are depositing. Again what happens here? Bank balance increases. How much it increases? 7,300 in the form of cash. Next point, Mohan's check returned dishonored. Dishonored means what happened? The check has been cancelled. Cancelled means we can't make any payment, that is there is no balance in the Mohan's account, so it has been dishonored, so it reduces our bank balance. Whatever 7,300 has been increased, no, now it will be decreased. Fourth point, by Mohan's account, how much it has been decreased? 7,300, my dear students. Moving on to the next point, fifth point, paid for mobile bill rupees 1,500. When we pay for the mobile bill, our cash balance reduces, so it should be taken under which side? Under the credit side. So fifth point, by mobile bill 1,500. What reduces here? Cash balance reduces. Again sixth point, purchased furniture and paid by check rupees 12,500. When we purchase the furniture, our bank balance reduces because we are getting through the check. So 12,500 it should be recorded under the credit side under the bank column. Sixth point, by furniture, which amount reduces? Bank column amount, that is bank balance reduces 12,500. Next seventh point, bought goods and paid by check rupees 20,000. Bought goods and paid by check is how much is there? 20,000. By the purchases our bank balance reduces. How much it reduces? 20,000. So that should be recorded under which side? Under the credit side. Seventh point, by purchases 20,000 bank balance reduces. Again 8th point, paid salary rupees 6,000. Paid salary means what happens here? Our cash balance reduces, so it should be recorded under which side? Credit side. 8th point, by salary account, how much is the cash balance reduces here? 6,000, my dear students. Next 9th point, sold goods for cash rupees 16,000. By selling the goods, what we are receiving? We are receiving the cash, so automatically what happens? Our cash balance increases. So 9th, to sales account, how much cash balance increases? 16,000, my dear students. Next, on 10th point, insurance premium paid by check rupees 2,500. So this insurance premium, when we are making through check, means what happens? Our bank balance reduces, so it should be considered under which side? Under the credit side, my dear students. By insurance premium, how much is the bank balance reduces? 2,500. Again 11th point, goods withdrawn for domestic use rupees 3,500 is given. So goods withdrawn for domestic use cannot be considered in this double column cash book. Why we can't consider the goods withdrawn? Means double column cash book can record only the cash and bank transactions. Here it is not a cash or bank transaction, it is goods transaction, that is goods withdrawn for domestic use is given. Goods we cannot record in this, only the cash or bank balance can be recorded. So ignore the 11th point. 12th point you check it, sold goods to Sindhu on credit rupees 5,000 is there. So when we are selling the goods on credit means we can't record it under the cash book. Only cash transactions can be recorded. 13th transaction, cash deposited into bank rupees 15,000. When we are depositing the cash into the bank, what happens? Our cash balance reduces automatically, our bank balance increases. How much it increases? 15,000. So the transaction, 13th transaction, what happens? By bank account, how much cash balance reduces? 15,000 contra entry. At the simultaneously 13th serial number 2 cash account, how much it increases? 15,000, my dear students. There is no further transaction in this question. So we can see the solution clearly now. Now total it on both the sides of the double column cash book. First you total it the cash column under both the sides. So you will be getting the cash column of 41,800 and 41,800. The cash column is the highest total is 41,800. Debit side is more. The same total to the credit side, how much it is? 41,800. 41,800 minus 7,300 minus 1,500 minus 6,000 minus 15,000, you will be getting the remaining balance of the closing balance of cash. How much you will be getting? 12,000 will be the closing balance of cash in hand. So the month and year is not given, so you record the last date itself, 31st itself we can record it. So by balance carried out, so only serial number is given, so you can record it 31st, the last date you can assume that. So 12,000 is the closing balance of the cash, my dear students. Now the bank balance, total it on debit side as well as the credit side of the bank columns. So you will be getting 1,02,150 is the highest total. 1,02,150 is the highest total. The same total to the credit side of bank column, 1,02,150 minus 7,300 minus 12,500 minus 20,000 minus 2,500, you will be getting 59,850 is the closing bank balance, my dear students. So the next serial number is 1 to balance brought down, that is the next month's opening balance, how much it becomes? 12,000 is the 12,000, the closing balance will become the opening balance. 12,000 as well as bank balance 59,850 is the opening balance, my dear students. So this is your solution, my dear students. You can clearly pause the video and you can write the solution, my dear students. Moving on to the next problem, that is the 14th problem, my dear students. From the following transactions made by Ramanath traders, prepare double column cash book. They asked us to prepare the double column cash book. They are given the date, year as well as the month. So 2017 March 1st, cash in hand rupees 1,75,000 and cash at bank rupees 6,500. So this is the opening balance of the cash as well as the bank. So that should be recorded under the debit side as to balance brought down. Why means it is the opening balance of cash, how much is given? 1,75,000 as well as the bank balance of rupees 6,500. March 2nd, deposited into bank rupees 1,05,000. Deposited into bank means what happens? Our cash balance reduces, simultaneously what happens? Our bank balance increases. March 3rd, issued a check for furniture purchase rupees 25,000. When we are issuing a check for the purchase of furniture means what happens? Automatically our bank balance reduces, so it should be recorded under the credit side. March 8th, purchased computer for rupees 30,000. So when we are purchasing the computer, here bank or cash is not given, so we need to consider as cash itself how much? 30,000. So our cash balance reduces 30,000. March 8, loan taken from bank rupees 3 lakhs. When we are taken the loan from bank means what happens? Our bank balance increases because we are applying for the loan. That loan we have taken means the loan has been given means, so what happens? Automatically the bank balance increases in which side? In the debit side. So that is then receipt we are receiving, so that should be taken under the debit side. So bank balance increases how much? 3 lakhs. Again March 9th, bought goods and paid by check rupees 65,000. We are purchased the goods and we are paid through what? Check. So it decreases our bank balance, so that should be recorded under the credit side. March 10th, bought computer for office use and paid by check rupees 85,000. We have purchased the computer for what use? For the office use and paid by check. So it decreases our what balance? Our bank balance, so it should be recorded under which side? Under the credit side. March 11, sold goods for rupees 50,000 and received check from Govind. So what is the point you are saying? Sold goods for how much it has been given? 50,000 and received check from Govind. 50,000 worth of goods we have sold and it has been received through check. So that means we are receiving, our bank balance increases, so it means it should be recorded under the debit side. March 15th, purchased machinery from HMT Limited for 50,000 on credit. My dear students, listen here. March 15th transaction, what is given? Purchased machinery from HMT Limited for rupees 50,000 on credit is given. Can we consider this transaction? We can't consider, because it is what transaction? Credit transaction. Only cash and bank transaction can be considered in this problem. Next point, what is given? March 20th, settled HMT's account by transferring Govind's check. So here what happens? The cash flow happens. So in the last transaction is a credit transaction. We are purchased the machinery through credit. This transaction we can't record it. March 15th transaction we can't record it. Here settled HMT's account by transferring Govind's check. How much we have received the Govind's check? Amount of rupees 50,000. This 50,000 we are transferring to which account? To the HMT's account. So automatically our bank balance reduces. So it should be taken under the credit side. March 23rd, sold goods for cash to Sudhakar rupees 24,000. We are selling the goods to Sudhakar for what? Cash. So it increases our cash balance. It should be recorded under the debit side. March 25th, stationery expenses paid rupees 2,500. When we are paying the stationery expenses, our cash balance reduces. So it should be recorded under the credit side, my dear students. Now moving on to the solution in the double column cash book. Debit, credit, date particulars LF, cash bank, date particulars LF, cash bank. Now moving to the first point, what is given? 2017 March 1st, cash in hand rupees 1,75,000 and at bank rupees 6,500. So both are the opening balances. Debit balance on which date? On March 1st is given. So under the debit side, 1st March 2017, two balance brought out, 1,75,000 and 6,500 is the cash balance, my dear students. That is the bank balance. March 2nd, deposited into bank rupees 1,05,000. Deposited into bank means what happens? Our cash balance reduces, simultaneously our bank balance increases. So on 2/3/2017, what is decreasing here? Cash is decreasing. How much it decreases? 1,05,000. Through what? By bank account, that is contra entry. Automatically what balance increases? Bank balance increases. How much it increases? 1,05,000. That will be treated as what here? To cash account on 2/3/2017. Listen here, we are depositing the check into the bank. So what happens when we are depositing the cash into the bank means our cash balance decreases. How much it decreases? 1,05,000. Where it is moving to the bank. Again what happens here? What increases? Bank balance increases to cash account. It is a contra entry, my dear students. Next point, March 3rd, issued a check for the furniture purchased rupees 25,000. When we are issuing a check for the furniture purchased means our bank balance reduces. On March 3rd, 2017, by furniture, how much it reduces? 25,000. Again on March 5th, purchased computer for rupees 30,000. When we purchase the computer, our cash balance reduces. So it should be taken under the credit side. On 5/3, that is March 5th, 2017, by computer 30,000, the amount it has been reduced because we are purchasing the computer, my dear students. Again March 8th, loan taken from bank rupees 3 lakhs. So 3 lakhs loan we have taken from the bank. So automatically what happens? Our bank balance increases. So it should be recorded under the debit side. So 8/3/2017, through the source of loan we are getting the amount of how much? 3 lakhs. So it increases the bank balance, my dear students. Next point, March 9th, bought goods and paid by check rupees 65,000. We have purchased the goods and it has been paid through what? Check. So our bank balance reduces. So it should be taken under which side? Under the credit side. So what happens? On 9th March 2017, by purchases, how much is the amount? 65,000. Our bank balance increases. Our bank balance decreases here. Why it decreases means we are purchasing the goods and we are giving the check. So 65,000 value of amount reduces here. And again March 10th, bought computer for office use and paid by check rupees 85,000. So a computer has been purchased and it has been paid through the check. How much is the amount? 85,000. So what happens? Our bank balance reduces. So it should be recorded under which side? Under the credit side. So 10th March 2017, by computer, how much is the amount? 85,000 reduced in the bank column. And again March 11th, sold goods for rupees 50,000 and received check from Govind. So we are selling the goods and we are receiving the check from Govind. So automatically what happens? So our bank balance increases under which side? Under the debit side. So 11/3/2017, through the sales we are receiving amount of rupees how much? 50,000 check. So it increases the bank balance, my dear students. Moving on to the next point. March 15th, purchased machinery from HMT Limited for rupees 50,000 on credit. So on credit we are purchasing, so this transaction should be ignored. Why? Means only the cash transaction can be taken into consideration, or the bank transaction can be taken into the consideration. March 20th, settled HMT's account by transferring Govind's check. So we have received Govind a check of rupees, how much it is? 50,000. The same 50,000 we are transferring to which account? HMT's account. So it decreases our bank balance. That should be taken under which side? Credit side. On 20th 3 2017 by HMT's account, how much bank balance, how much check we are issuing? 50,000. Our bank balance reduces, how much it reduces? 50,000 here. Next point, March 23rd, sold goods for cash to Sudhakar rupees 24,000. When we are selling the goods, what happens? Our cash balance increases, so that should be taken under the debit side. So automatically, to sales account 23,317, to sales account 24,000 value of cash balance increases, my dear students. Again, March 25th, stationery expenses paid rupees 2,500. Stationery expenses has been paid. Stationery expenses paid means what happens? Our cash balance reduces, so it should be considered under the credit side, my dear students. So 25/3/2017 by stationery, cash column reduces. How much it reduces cash balance? 2,500, my dear students. That's it done. There is no any further transactions here. Now what you need to do? Total it on both the sides of the debit as well as credit side of cash columns. You total it the cash column of the debit as well as the credit. So you will be getting the cash column debit, how much? 1,99,000 is the highest total of cash. So same total should be written on the credit side also, 1,99,000. In this 1,99,000 minus 1,05,000, 30,000, 2,500, you will be getting 61,500 is the closing cash balance. So in the 1,99,000 minus the 1,05,000 minus 30,000 minus 2,500, you will be getting the closing balance of cash. How much you will be getting? 61,500. It is by balance carried on which date? 31st of March 2017. Now make the total on the bank column. That is debit side as well as the credit side of the bank column. Make the total. You will be getting the debit side total is more. How much you will be getting? 4,61,500. The same total to the credit side also, 4,61,500 minus 25,000 minus 65,000 minus 85,000 minus 50,000. You will be getting 2,36,500. This is the closing bank balance, my dear students. Closing bank balance, how much you got? 2,36,500. So on 31st March 2017, closing balance of cash and bank will be by balance carried on 61,500 and bank balance 2,36,500. The same will become the opening balance on the opening date, that is on 1/4/2017. Two balance brought down. Opening balance of cash, how much will be there? 61,500. The same closing balance will become the opening balance. Opening balance of bank will be 2,36,500, my dear students. Moving on to the last problem in the double column cash book, my dear students, that is the 15th problem in page number 4.13. Record the following transactions in double column cash book. You can pause the video for the last problem and you can write, my dear students, the solution whatever is there. You can pause the video and you can write it, my dear students. Now moving on to the last problem, that is 15th problem in the page number 4.13. Record the following transactions in double column cash book and balance it. 2017 April 1st they are given. Cash balance, bank balance is given 15,000 and 2,20,000. So this should be recorded under the debit side of the double column cash book because it is the debit balances. April 2nd, insurance premium paid by check rupees 6,000. Insurance premium has been paid through what? Check. So what happens here? Our bank balance reduces, so it should be recorded under the credit side. April 4th, issued a check for goods purchased rupees 28,000. When we are issuing the check for the goods purchased, what happens? Our bank balance reduces, so it should be taken under the credit side. April 5th, sold goods and received check from Rahul rupees 19,000. So we are selling the goods and we are receiving the check from Rahul. What happens? Automatically our bank balance increases, so it should be recorded under the debit side. April 8th, sold goods to Modi and get the amount transferred to our bank account 36,000. So we are selling the goods to Modi and we are getting the amount transferred to our bank account. So directly what happens? Our bank balance increases, so that should be recorded under the debit side. April 10th, paid rent by check rupees 12,000. When we are paying the rent, our bank balance decreases, so it should be considered under the credit side. April 11th, paid wages rupees 3,500. When we are paying the wages, our cash balance reduces, so it should be recorded under the credit side. April 13th, bought goods from Amit rupees 65,000. When we are purchasing the goods from Amit, what happens? It is see here, bought goods from Amit is given. So we are not purchasing for cash or bank through check. So we are purchasing for the credit transaction amount of rupees 65,000. So this transaction should be ignored. Why means it is a credit transaction. So listen here, bought goods from Amit for cash is given means it can be taken as a cash transaction and it can be recorded. Or bought goods from Amit through check means we can record it. Here they are given just as it is, bought goods from Amit. So 65,000 worth of goods we are purchased through credit. So this transaction should be ignored because credit transaction cannot be taken in the double column cash book. On 15, sold goods to Mamta and received a check. So we are selling the goods to Mamta and we are receiving the check. See that whether the check has been deposited on the same day. No. So this transaction should be taken as a cash transaction. How much is the cash transaction? We need to make it because 56,000 will be treated as a cash transaction, my dear students. On April 20th, Mamta's check deposited into bank. So how much is the Mamta's check deposited into bank means here the same check we are depositing into the bank. So don't be confused, in the book the amount has been interchanged here. Sold goods to Mamta and received check is there, no, 56,000. The same amount should be considered here, 56,000. So it is an contra entry which affects the two column cash book both the sides. So that is under the check means here we are considering it as an cash balance reduces, bank balance increases. April 20th, paid to Amit by check in full settlement of his account rupees 64,000. That is 65,000 is the balance. So we are considering only how much? 64,000, my dear students. So now what you need to make this problem as an homework. That is the last problem, 15th problem. And again you can see that in the double column cash book in the page number 4.13 you have the additional questions. Please make and practice of it. You make the homework of that additional questions. If any doubt you can contact the accountancy lecturers and you can clarify the doubts related to the double column cash book. So until, it's bye from Kulandaraj, accountancy lecturer, SDC College, Bangarpet. So in the next concept I will meet you, my dear students. Thank you, my dear students.